For 3 weeks in May, close to 1 million migratory shorebirds arrive on the shores of Delaware Bay and feed on horseshoe crab eggs. Only 3 weeks earlier, many of these same birds were 7,000 miles to the south in Argentina, Chile, and Brazil. Now they've migrated north and have stopped briefly on Delaware Bay, and by the beginning of June, they will be gone. Their next stop, 3,000 miles north in the Arctic, where they will mate and have their young. In less than 8 weeks, these birds will have covered 10,000 miles, stopping in only 2 or 3 places. Species that migrate such long distances with so few stops are very rare, so scientists from around the world converge on Delaware Bay as well to study these hemispheric travelers, their biology and ecology. Unfortunately, binoculars and spotting scopes cannot provide enough information about these animals, so scientists use cannon nets to catch them.
Yeah, I'm attaching the projectiles to the net so that once we fire the net, so once we fire the cannons, actually, these will pull out the net over the birds.
This cannon is loaded with a 16-gram charge of powder and a small electrostatic fuse.
Once the cannon net has been set, the team must wait for the birds to return. The scientists plan each catch with the goal of capturing specific numbers and species of birds and vary the catch locations throughout the brief season.
Are you ready? Fire.
The captured birds are quickly covered to calm them and protect them from overheating. Although they are strong flyers, most shorebirds are quite fragile. To use less energy in flight, their bones are hollow. Researchers must carefully handle the birds while untangling them from the net and placing them in holding boxes. With all birds collected and separated by species, the rigorous process of gathering data about each animal begins. Each bird receives a numbered metal band and is then measured in a variety of ways. The skull, beak, and wings of each bird are measured and recorded as well.
65.0 and 34.7.
However, it is the weight that is perhaps the most important indicator of each bird's overall health. During their recent non-stop flight from South America, many birds have lost as much as half their body weight.
111.5.
Some of these birds have only just arrived, so it'll be really interesting to see what they weigh now, because they'll be coming in quite light, around 100 grams.
Red knots are of particular interest to researchers in part because they have the longest migration, about 20,000 miles annually. They arrive on Delaware Bay weighing as little as 100 grams. In 2 weeks of frenzied feeding, they put on 80 to 100 grams, gaining weight at a rate of 4 to 9% a day. To gain weight this quickly, red knots expand their digestive organs. 2 weeks later, and closer to 200 grams, they shrink them in preparation for their next long flight to the Arctic, where there may still be snow and no food. For 20 years now, scientists have been studying red knots and the other shorebirds that make this migratory journey. During that time, they have refined their research methods to provide them with more detailed data. This includes a major change in the bands now used on the birds.
What we're doing now is putting individual flags on the birds that we've caught so that we can recognize them in the field. So each knot and turnstone and sanderling will have a little lime green flag with an inscription on, which will have 3 characters on it, and that will identify that bird as an individual.
In the past, shorebirds were banded with colored rings, indicating the year and location caught with no unique markings. Now, using alphanumeric codes for each bird, scientists are able to monitor each animal on its annual migration. Researchers also take a small feather sample of every red knot to determine where that animal was before arriving on Delaware Bay. The feathers contain traces of the food resources the bird had been feeding on during the winter months and before its journey north. When analyzed, the feathers reveal what that bird had been eating previously, which can then be correlated to the different locations where red knots lived during the winter. Flying long distances non-stop from one food source to another is the remarkable survival strategy shorebirds like the redknot have adapted. And as scientists continue to study these long-distance migrants, they are adapting as well, refining and improving their research methods in order to better understand how best to sustain these unique and fragile avian species.